Okay, hello, welcome back. We are going to be doing a video, actually, about the release footage of Captain Marvel, a deleted scene that they've released recently. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm doing Spider-Man during this Captain Marvel release scene. And the answer is sheer laziness. No, in all seriousness, a little bit of it is laziness and not wanting to do it. A little bit is I don't understand how copyright law works. And but a lot of it is, I think it's just been overexposed. I've seen it on several channels and just want to discuss it without overexposing it. So for those of you who haven't seen the footage, you can look it up. But basically, it's pretty much what happened in Terminator 2 at the very beginning. The I need your clothes and your motorcycle scene. And, yep, that's what the scene is. So let me give you a brief description of it before we kind of discuss what actually happens in it. So, oh, wait, let me give a caveat before I go on with that. I really know next to nothing about Captain Marvel. What I know, I've gotten from online sources. There's a guy, if you don't mind language, a guy named Yun-Ripa59 knows a lot about comic book history, and he did a video on the history of Captain Marvel. So, yeah, go with that if you want to know the history. Basically, my only knowledge of Captain Marvel comes from the old X-Men cartoon where Rogue drained her powers. That was pretty much the extent of my knowledge about the character. So, and I also have not seen the movie, so I can't comment on the movie either. So basically, Brie Larson's publicity that she did, and what I've gotten from online sources is all I really know about Captain Marvel. So, let's go into the video, or the deleted scene. So, Captain Marvel apparently has just arrived on Earth and is sitting outside a store in daylight, reading a map. So a guy pulls up on a motorcycle and, checks her out while she's reading a map. Now, obviously, he has a certain, more than just a passing interest in her. He's finding her attractive, so on. And so he approaches her, offers her a bike ride. He does it in kind of a creepy fashion. You can tell that he's after something. And then after she gets, she says, sure. Then he says, how about a smile? And she says, wait, what? And he's like, well, I'm doing you a favor. At least you could do a smile, which... And then she says, well, how about a handshake? So he says, okay, he shakes hands. She basically squeezes his hand in death grip. He's in a great deal of pain. And she basically does the Arnold Schwarzenegger line, give me your motorcycle and your jacket, your clothes, whatever. And if you don't, I'll rip your arm off. Now, do I really have to tell you what the problem is with this? So, okay, we'll start at the basics. There's a lot of little issues and problems with this. Outside of it being derivative, which, a lot of movies are derivative, so we shouldn't really hang too much on that. First off, while the guy is obviously after something more than just, helping a fellow citizen out, he doesn't actually say anything that's all that bad. He offers her a ride, and he says, maybe you should smile when you've accepted, something nice I've done for you, which is pretty much common courtesy. I mean, it's just, somebody does something nice for you, you say thank you and smile. That's that, and maybe he could have phrased it badly, maybe he had some ulterior motives going on there, but what he actually says isn't that bad, and I've noticed this in a lot of movies recently, that there's a lot of things dealing with, say, sexual harassment and so on, but it seems to be made by people who have no idea how it actually works in real life. I saw an interesting video, I want to say from New Zealand. It's a commercial they did, and basically, telling men, hey, you need to speak up if you see something like this happening. And it's a guy sitting on a train, there's a businesswoman there, and the woman's looking very uncomfortable while the guy just stares at her for like, you know, a full minute of the commercial. He's staring at her, which, okay, first off, I've been on trains with, you know, professional women and even just normal women, and I know of no woman who would actually tolerate that. It's, you know, it just makes the entire thing feel absurd and unrealistic, and it's the same thing with this scene. It just makes it feel like, you know, this is a situation that would never actually happen, even back in the 90s. So it, you know, that kind of takes away from the scene and the issue and the problem. Now, let's look at her reaction. You know, I've compared this with Terminator 2 already. The thing about it is, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, who did the "give me your clothes and your motorcycle" sequence, and he asked for something else too, but I forget what. He's an amoral machine in it. He has no morality at this point in the movie, and he literally doesn't know anybody. He has an objective, and he sees a path to his objective, so it makes perfect sense. And secondly, he doesn't threaten or even attack these people until he's attacked. In the movie, she basically puts this guy in a lot of pain and threatens to rip off his arm. Near as I can tell, because he was talking to her creepily. Like I said, what he said wasn't all, you know, it wasn't sexist or anything like that. I'll admit he could have phrased it better and he could have been less creepy about it, but he doesn't deserve to have his arm ripped off because of that, nor does he deserve to be essentially mugged by someone who's supposed to be the hero. And that's part of the problem. She is supposed to be like this hero and this feminist icon and all this other stuff, and instead she's coming off as a bully. She's, you know, one of the things that they said on the release, I think it was, I won't say USA Today who got the release footage, said that it was Captain Marvel battling toxic masculinity. And apparently she's battling toxic masculinity by demonstrating toxic femininity. She's essentially acting like a bully. She's threatening to rip a guy's arm off because he says something, you know, that she doesn't like. She is more powerful than he is, she's stronger than he is, and she has a responsibility not to, you know, threaten to rip people off and mug them. She essentially stole his motorcycle and his clothing, which is not a good thing. Now, what this brought to mind was that there was a similar situation in a crossover comic event they did between Squirrel Girl and Howard the Duck. In it, Howard who's a private detective, has been hired to find a cat. And he goes off in search of the cat. He mistakes Squirrel Girl's roommate's cat for the cat he's after, and essentially catnaps the cat, and Squirrel Girl goes out after him. So, while she gets him cornered, he's kind of in a panic, basically starts throwing trash and stuff at her. And, you know, Squirrel Girl's pretty darn powerful and strong, and she knows that nothing he's throwing at her is actually hurting her, so she's essentially stands there and lets trash hit her while she starts to talk it out with Howard. And talk about the situation and stuff that's going on with Howard. And that's the whole point. See, Squirrel Girl came off as kind of a sane, rational person, someone who has a great deal of power, but also responsibility with that power, talking to someone who has less power, and working out their differences like a rational, sane human being. Whereas Captain Marvel in this footage comes off as a complete and utter monster. So, you know, honestly, she does not impress me as a feminist icon. She impresses me as a bully, a dictator, and kind of a jerk, just based on this footage. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't judge the footage in the movie, but if this is an example of it, she is not a good role model, and I certainly, if I had daughters, I certainly wouldn't want them to watch this because of that. I won't want my daughters to think that, hey, if I got super strength one day, I should rip off a guy's arm because he talks to me vaguely creepily. You know, it's not a good thing. Anyway, That's my whole take on this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think, hey, you know, this guy is completely... You know, Vici philosophy is completely and totally right. We should listen to him. Or if you think, yeah, no, you totally misinterpreted the scene and she was perfectly reasonable in wanting to rip the guy's arm off. Anyway, let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.